Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely Tuesday. I know it's all kinds of crazy right now, but we are seeing things through. So, as you know, we break down math concepts, which will kind of help you out if you're thinking about taking the GED, the ASVAB, the all kinds of standardized testing. Sorry, my computer was just acting all kinds of crazy for 5 seconds. But we're going to get it together. So, getting on a little early, I had a kid that canceled, so I said, you know what? Why wait? Let's just do it. Let's get on a couple minutes early. So what we're going to be doing with tonight, we're going to be graphing linear inequalities. As I said to so many people once before, it's never just a straight shot with me. It's just basically things that I'm seeing in my tutoring, things that I'm seeing that I'm noticing people are constantly making errors. And I just try to make adjustments to it to kind of help you guys out as you're taking any of your standardized testing or even helping you out with your current classes. So, couple of things that we need to know as you guys are coming on in is we need to take a look at the steps when you're graphing linear inequalities. So let me zoom on in so I'll give you a nice little gander. So first, we're going to make sure we're going to put that inequality in slope-intercept form. So we're not looking at the inequality as a number line. Now we're looking at it as two number lines crossing at the origin, which is your 0. Okay, and we're looking at it from two different perspectives, the x-axis as well as the y-axis. So when we say make sure we put it in that slope-intercept form, we're talking that y equals mx plus b. I didn't put the equal sign there because we're not talking about an equation, we're talking about inequalities, and I did not want to confuse you. Okay, so I didn't just forget the equal sign. I just kind of put it off to the side. But once you get it into that y equals mx plus b, aka you just solved for y, then you're going to look at what type of equality it is. Okay, if it's less than or greater than, the type of line that you're going to draw is a dashed line. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, you're going to draw a solid line. This is the part that we get screwed up. Because once you start graphing lines on a coordinate plane, you automatically want to draw a solid line. So you always want to stop and take a moment before you draw your line to see what type of line you're going to draw. If it's going to be a dashed line or if it's going to be a solid line. So if it has a line underneath the inequality, the equal to part, it's going to be solid. Okay, if it doesn't have the line underneath it, it's going to be dashed. All right. So here we go. Hey, Andy, did it. How are you? Welcome on in. All right. Thank you for the follow, Carly. There you go. Now, in order for you, the whole purpose of inequalities is you want to find a particular number or maybe a series of numbers that will make that inequality a true statement. So instead of picking each and every single solitary point, we do what's called shading. Okay? When we do the shading, we want to shade the side that are going to have all the numbers that's going to make that inequality a true statement. So if you have greater than or equal to, once you draw your line, you're going to shade above that line. That line is also called a boundary line. If it's less than or equal to, you're going to generally shade below that boundary line. All right. And if you're not sure which one is above or below by looking at the line, because sometimes the gradient is a little tricky, you can use that test of 0, 0. So if you pick 0, 0, and sometimes 0, 0 is on one or the other side of the boundary line, and say you plug it in and it gives you a true answer, then you're going to shade the sign that contains 0, 0. If it gives you a false statement, then you're going to shade the side that does not contain 0, 0. which I'm going to show you in today's lesson what exactly I'm talking about. All right, so you're currently working on Pythagorean. Okay, look in the back. All right, thank you. Thanks for listening in. All right, so we are at 590. Oh, I lied. 635. Go ahead and keep tapping away if we can get to that 1K so we can draw people in, because this is how you got here. And we're going to get ourselves started soon. So let me unzoom a bit. All right, perfect. Okay. Sorry, something was in my way. All right, so so let's see if we can go straight to an example. So we got example, and we have y is greater than 2x minus 5. Okay. So, first thing I need to know is this, if I put y equals mx plus b underneath it, is our inequality, not even worried about the inequality sign, but is this in slope-intercept form? Is y by itself on one side of the inequality? Okay. Hey, Burly Boy, how are you? Hey, Jan. How's it going? All right. So, is this inequality right up here in slope-intercept form? Is it y by itself? Okay. Hey, Laura. Endron, thank you, saying yes. Okay, hey Shakita, you're saying yes. Okay, Houston saying yes. Mia, yeah, no, you're not late. I came early. I didn't have I didn't have someone at 6:45, and I was like, well, what's the point of me waiting? Let me just get started. Okay, Roadrunner. Oh, I haven't seen that name in a minute. Yes, good. All right, thank you. All right, good, perfect. So since it's already in that slope-intercept form, now we can actually start drawing our graph. Because if I take a look, I notice my slope is going to be a 2, and my y-intercept is going to be a -5. So this kind of gives me an idea of how large I need my graph to be. And then where should I cut things off? And I'm actually going to count by ones. And then you're going to see why I love using the dots. Because if I tried to do this in a regular, like, say, composition book, it's never even, right? It's never even. So that's why some people like to actually write in, a grid paper or some kind of graph paper. But I kind of like the dots because I know I'm going to have to use some. So, refreshing our memory on how to graph. When it's in our slope-intercept form, where we start is always on my y-axis. Okay, the y-axis goes up and down, the x-axis goes left and right. Now, whatever your b is, the b is also known as your y-intercept. And the reason why they call it the y-intercept, because that's where it crosses at your y-axis. I know, it's really deep. It's really deep. All right. So, taking a look, this is where you start. The number that doesn't have an X or Y next to it, that's called your starting point. on the y-axis. This is where a lot of people are like, I understand the graph, but I never know where to start. You're not starting at the 2, okay? The 2 is in line with your m. Your 2 is your slope, whereas your y-intercept is going to be this -5. So on the y-axis, I'm going to go down. Here's my 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here is 0, -5. So that's where you put your first point. Now, just like if you're going to give directions, you need your slope. Because if you recall, your slope, that's your rise over your run. And anytime you get a whole number like we do now, we have to make that whole number into a fraction, because slopes are always fraction. Okay? They're always fractions. So, since it's a whole number of 2, if I put a 1 underneath it, now I can put it and make it as my true slope, my rise over my run. So I'm starting at the first point. So it's almost like you're giving someone directions to get to someone's house. Okay? We can't just go through people's homes in order to get to the house. Yeah, we don't do that. Okay? I don't know where anybody does, but we don't do that. All right? So since my slope is 2 over 1, I'm going to go up 2, since it's a positive 2, and to the right 1, since it's a positive 1. Okay, I can do it again. Going up 1, 2, over to the right 1. And every time I stop, I put a point. So up 1, 2, to the right 1. Okay, and you're probably saying, well, when do I stop, Audrey? As soon as you feel comfortable and you see that line forming, you can stop. Usually most teachers will say about like 2 or 3 points. I actually met a teacher said that they want 5. It's their own. Now, here we go. That took care of step 1. So recall, step 1. Put it in slope-intercept form, boom, okay? We plotted our point. Now we're on step 2. Look at the inequality and graph the line. So the inequality symbol is greater than. It doesn't have a line underneath it. So it's not greater than or equal to, it's just greater than. So when it's just greater than, as I said here, okay, if it's just greater than, we're drawing a dashed line because we're not including these points, okay? So if we got our handy dandy ruler, then we're going to draw a dashed line. So we're just going to pick up your pen and skip. Skip to the loo, my darling. Okay? All right. Put our arrowheads on both ends. Now you're ready to rock and roll. Okay? No, never doing proofs ever. Not on this. Okay. All right. Now, the next part. For 3, use inequalities to find where to shade. Okay? So, if it's just greater than or greater than or equal to, you're going to shade above. If it's less than or less than or equal to, you're going to shade below. Now, let's say you see this and you're just like, I don't know which one's above and which one's below because the line is slanted. Okay, no problem. So this is when you're going to test. And as I said earlier, if you test, you want to use a point that's nice and simple. That's 0, 0. Notice the boundary line that we drew, which is the dashed line. And 0, 0 is on one side of the dashed line. So what we're going to do, we got our original inequality up here. I'm going to rewrite it. I think we got room here. So we got y is greater than 2 times x minus 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to substitute 0 for the y, and we're going to substitute 0 for the x to see if we're going to get a true statement. All right. When we do this, we have our 0 is greater than 2 times 0, which gives me 0. Bring down my minus 5. 0 minus 5, that gives me a negative 5. So I have 0 is greater than negative 5. So, is that a true statement? Is 0 greater than negative 5? Put that in the chat. Okay, so Keita says yes it is. Shakita said yes it is. Roadrunner, yes it is. Everyone, yes it is. Yes, 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 yes. Nisa saying no. Saying it's true, yes. So this is a true statement. Because if you think about it, here's 0, here's negative 5. Okay, this is going in the positive of positive infinity. This is going into the negative of negative infinity. So my numbers are getting smaller to the left and larger to the right. 0 is larger than negative 5. So this is a true statement. So instead of picking each and every single solitary point over here, look at all these points. See all these points? Everything that's on this side of the boundary line is going to give us a true statement. So instead of us picking each and every single solitary point, even the points in between, we decide to shade. So when I shade, I'm saying every single solitary point on this side of the boundary line is going to give me a true statement. That's what that's saying. Okay, so you can pick a point. If I wanted to pick a point, negative 2, 0. All right, got negative 2 for the x. I got 0 for the y. 2 times negative 2 gives me negative 4. Negative 4 minus 5 gives me negative 9. Is 0 greater than negative 9? Oh, yes, it is. True statement. Okay. Not owing anybody money is definitely a heck of a lot better than owing them money. Because they will never leave you alone. They will always call you, text you, smoke signal, all that. Until they get their money. Okay? All right? Yes, of course we can do more. This is today's topics. This is today's topic. All right? Let's see. Okay, so we got 2x plus 4y is less than or equal to 8. There you go. Exactly. Just give it as a gift. All right. So, first thing. Is this in slope-intercept form? Is y by itself on one side of the inequality? No, it's not. Good. No, no, no. Yes. Standard form. Thank you, Houston. No, no. There you go. Sis, try this. Love that. No. Jan, no. Letitia, no. Letitia, no. Good. So we have to put it in that slope-intercept form. We need to solve this equation for y. So right now, this 4 y is going to stay right where it is. What needs to go to the other side? We are. Okay, so subtract the 2x, the 2, the 2x, the negative 2. There you go, Coco. The 2x, good. So since to the left of it, that's where the signage will be for the 2x. If there's nothing there, that means it is a positive 2x. So we need to do its inverse, which is subtract 2x to both sides. Okay, so 2x minus 2x. So now we have 4y is less than or equal to, and don't tell me it's 6x, because it's not. Okay? That there 8 doesn't have an x, but that negative 2 does. So they're not like terms. Okay? They're not like terms at all. So we're just going to put the negative 2x here, and then we're going to bring down the positive 8. Okay, there you go. And if you said 8 minus 2x, that's fine as well. I'm just trying to keep it in slope-intercept form so it won't confuse people, okay? But if you got it and you know that your negative 2 right now has the potential of being your slope, you can do that. All right, good. So now we have 4y. We don't want to know what 4y is. We want to know what y is. So what do we have to do? No problem. Divide the 4. Thank you, Coco. There you go. Good. So we got our positive 4y. So I'm dividing everything. Because if I don't see a plus or a minus between that 4 and that y, that means this is multiplication. And the inverse of multiplication is division. And I like to make sure I divide everything individually by the 4. You can draw the big line in the 4, but this is what happens. A lot of people remember to do the division with the negative 2, but they forget to do the division with the 8. So that's why I just separated. So 4 divided by 4 will give me 1, but I don't need the 1 because I have the y. Since I divided by a positive 4, that means my sign does not change direction. Remember that? The signage will always change direction when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Just because we're going to get a result of a negative number here, that's not what happens. It deals with what's in red. If what's in red right now was a negative, we have to change the direction of that sign. So for right now, we're just going to bring down our less than or equal to. And then here we have, negative 2 divided by 4. That can be reduced. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 2/4 can be reduced to 1/2. And then we'll keep the x. Okay, because if I divide the 2 by 2 and divide the 4 by 2, I will get my 1/2, and it's a negative 1/2. Plus 8 divided by 4, that gives me 2. Okay, good. Okay, Vinny. I mean, you can, but you're still going to have to put it in slope-intercept form. I saw what you said, Sydney. Yeah. But then you still have to, like, do the subtraction of the 2, so might as well just do it early. Get it over and done with. Okay. All right. So now, it's in its simplest term, as we like to say, because 1, y is by itself, and 2, we don't have any other factors to deal with. So now that we have this, we can go ahead and graph. And by looking at what the y-intercept is and looking at what the slope, that tells me that I don't have to draw like a huge graph. I can just Put it right here. I can go like this. And since my y-intercept is 2, I could probably put it right here, because I don't have to do too much with the x. So I got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I want to do 7, I can. 3. Okay. So now, yes, the goal is always to get y by itself anytime you're dealing with an equation or inequality, okay, especially a linear. All right. Yes. All right. Hey, Lynette. So now, where do I start? Sorry, why? Okay. And where do I start? This is not angle relation, Chris. Okay. But see, here's the thing. Is that Korea? This is going to be to our advantage. Like fractions is our friend when it comes to the slope-intercept form. Because this fraction is next to the x, that's our slope. And slope is always rise over run. And we need it to be a fraction. It'll be so much easier. Do not make this 0.5 because it's going to be hard for you to graph. So we're going to start at the 2. We always start at our constant. Okay, we always start at our constant and on the y-axis. So the first point that we're going to put down is at 0, 2, right here. Okay, this is always going to be our starting point. If it doesn't have an x or a y next to it, that's going to be your starting point. Okay. Now, Jerry Springer, you back? Where you been? Now we're looking at our slope. So we have a -1 over 2. So we're saying our rise is going down 1 and our run is going over to the right 2. So starting from our starting point, we're going to go down 1 to the right 2. Draw our point. Down 1 to the right 2. Draw our point. Okay? Down 1 to the right 2. Draw our point. And like I said, you really just need 2 points. At least 2 points. They always say the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Here we are. Even Dina Carter sang a song about it. Okay? Once we kind of have a feel about our line, as we can see from left to right, it's going down. I have to take a look at the inequality. Since there is a line underneath that inequality, that means we're going to draw a solid line, just a regular old line. And drawing our arrowheads. Okay. Did a fraction on the graph? Yep. Yes, it is. Okay, so your fraction right here, especially when it's your slope, okay, this is always your rise over run. I like to put my negative with the numerator instead of the denominator, but guess what? If I do that, say if I had a positive 1 over -2, that means I will go up 1 and over 2. Look where's that point lands. That point also lands on the line. Okay, I can go up 1 but go to the left 2. And that point will also be on the line. So you can just pick and choose which one's going to rock the negative. Is it going to be the numerator or the denominator? It cannot be both, because a negative divided by a negative will give me a positive. If you have two negative numbers, that means you have a positive slope. If one of them is negative, you're going to have a negative slope. All right. You're going to ask about that? Yep. Yep. So one or the other, not both. Okay. One or the other. All right. Awesome. So we have our line. We know it's a solid line because we have the equal to. Now we need is the shading. Well, since it's less than, I like to think we're going to shade below. But there's one way we can tell, is by testing it. Let's find our point 0, 0. Here's our origin right here, and it's on one side of the boundary line. And if we substitute it back in with our equation that we have down here, we're looking for a true statement. Let me shift this over a little bit, and I'm going to put it up here. So we have y is less than or equal to negative 1/2. Don't freak out, because you're going to see how easy we're going to substitute. So we're going to plug in zeros for the x and y's. So we have 0 for the y and a 0 for the x. So we have less than or equal to negative 1/2 plus 2. Anything times 0 is what? Okay, so Nico, we're working on linear inequalities. Okay, good. Thank you, people, with the zeros, I love it. So we have 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 2. And 0 plus 2 gives me 2. So 0 is less than or equal to 2. So is 0 less than or equal to 2 a true statement or a false statement? And don't give me those combine of TF. You know, the T and the F, like, oh, it could be either one. And they're like, well, I wrote the F. I'm like, no, I always mark those wrong. Okay, so it is less than. Good. Less than or equal to. Yes, it is a true statement. It is a true statement. Because 0 is less than 2. But it's saying less than or equal to, not and equal to. Okay, that's one thing a lot of people get mixed up. It's not less than greater than. This is less than or equal to. So if I had a 2 over here, and I said 2 is less than or equal to 2, that's a true statement. It's not less than, but it's equal to. Okay, you see how it kind of plays almost like two sides? So since this is a true statement, that means we're going to shade the side that contains that point 0, 0. And the side that contains it is this side, right here. I'm just going to do a little sketch because I don't want it to seep on through. So by doing the shading, you're basically saying, okay, I can pick any point on this side of the boundary line to give me a true statement. So instead of you picking each and every single solitary point, which is crazy, we have lives, we just do the shading. Okay, we just do the shading. Yep, it's like an equation. For tutoring, if anything, just message me. There is a button on the bottom that says Service Plus. If you hit on that, and you can just send me a message. Yep, you can send me a message. Or you can go to the... Always gotta find ways to say it. Okay? And it'll be the first link. It'll be the first one. Thanks, Jan. I'm trying. How to get around the TT police. I don't know. Based on all the other stuff they have on TT, my goodness. Should be okay. All right. Questions. I see some questions coming in. So if it's not true, good question, JP. If it wasn't true, that means you're going to shade the side that does not contain that 0.00. So if, let's say, devil's advocate, that this side gave us a false statement, that means you're going to shade the other side of the boundary line. That's what you're going to do. Okay. Yep, this is algebra, like close to algebra 1. They do introduce the number line in algebra, and then sometimes they introduce this. If they're taking honors algebra, they'll introduce the linear inequalities, but I've seen a lot of it in algebra 1. Okay. All right. Ready to try. Let's try a. Okay, let me try this one. Yep, I'm going to definitely do more. I may not. Anonymous. Put your real name up there. No, I'm just kidding. Little stalker. When I was in school, I don't know. I was probably sitting right next to you. Yes, I know some people that are taking college algebra, they also have this in their curriculum. So definitely pay attention. And before I get to the next one, and while you guys are tapping away, there's 240 of you guys. There's 8.1. What are we doing? Sorry. So if anything, if you go here, right? You will see where it says TikTok Lives. There's a playlist there. So all of my lives since February the 2nd, and I generally go like once a day now. At one point, I was doing 2, sometimes 3 times a day lives. I was cray-cray. Because even Sunday wiped me out when I had 3 lives, and I actually did 4 lives that day. I don't know what I was smoking, but here we are. But if you ever get stuck, you can, if you have the topic, you can print it out, because I basically have done, I want to say, a good majority of the algebra curriculum. Not sequentially, but I've touched on some things here and there. And also did a little bit of trig. Someone said they're doing Pythagorean theorem. I did videos on Pythagorean theorem already a couple of times. And what else have I done? The graph of sines and cosines. So go ahead and take a look. So go ahead and take a screenshot of it. I'm going to take it off in like 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank y'all. All right. So let's see. Okay. Triple square day. Okay, good. I'm glad it's being helpful. Okay, so let me zoom in just a hair. All right. Yep, I will. Yeah, Everett, I'm never going to do proofs because I will never have a following. But if you need help with proofs, I do private tutoring. So make sure you do check out this. All right. Once you go in there, you can fill out. And then I can help you with proofs. Ooh. So you're not getting X and Y alone. You're only getting Y by itself. Because remember, the ultimate goal is to put it in this format. But instead of an equal sign, it's an inequality. Okay, we're trying to put it into that y equals mx plus b, but instead of an equals, we got an inequality there. So we want to solve for y. Okay, we want to solve for y. What should I move first? Do I do that circle thing? Where it has fractions all over it? What do you mean, the unit circle? Okay, so we got the -3, so we want to subtract 3x. Yep, we're going to leave that 2. We can't touch this yet. We have to isolate this first. So that's going to stay right where it is. But we're going to subtract that 3x. So when I subtract the 3x, minus 3x, they cancel out. So now I can bring down my -2y is less than or equal to my -3x plus 10. Now, if you said 10 minus 3x, remember, that's fine as well. As long as you know that what we get as a result next to the x, that's going to be your slope. Okay? Now, just because we subtracted 3x from both sides, that doesn't mean we switch the inequality sign. We only change this when we're multiplying or dividing by a negative. So if we want to get by itself, heaven, there we go. We're going to divide, good, Big Al, as well. We're going to divide our -2 to everything. Okay. So because we divided by a -2, that's when your inequality sign is going to change. Do we see that now? Okay. So thank you. So -2 and -2, that still gives you your y. But instead of less than or equal to, it's going to be greater than or equal to. Because we divided by a -2. -3 divided by -2, that gives me a positive 3/2. Okay. And then 10 divided by a -2, that gives me a -5. Okay, we must watch our signs. Because trust me, they will have like -3/2 x plus 5 as one of your options. If you're taking, say, the GED, the ASVAB, even the ACCUPLACER, TEAS test, any of those exams. Okay, they will have that as one of the options. All right, Kansas, good. So long, I know, right? You're doing good. You're doing good. And you don't change this. I just noticed, Heaven. Leave that as an improper fraction. Because since we're graphing, this is going to be your slope. Trust me, it's a lot easier to graph a slope when it's basically an improper fraction than mixed numbers. So this is where we want to stop. The reason why I'm stopping, because y is by itself. Okay, yes. So y is by itself. So we did what we need to do. That's our inequality. So now we need to do our graph. I notice my y-intercept is going to be a -5, and my slope is positive. So that's going to kind of help me design my graph. Because sometimes they give you a graph, sometimes you're going to have to draw your own. So it doesn't have to be super, super large and in charge. Made it a little too large for me, but here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Okay. I always like to make my larger ones, my 5s, a little bit larger because it's easier for me to find them. Okay. Hey, David Squared, how are you? Where you find -5, or how did I get the -5? Because since this was a +10 and we divided by a -2, a positive divided by a negative gives me a negative. Okay, so the starting point is a unit without the x or y. Yes, Mia, so where are we starting? I'm okay. I'm okay so far. Thank you for asking. Where are we starting, Mia? Where we got? Okay, the y-intercept. What is my y-intercept? What is my y? What is my, not my y, what's my y-intercept or my b? -5. Awesome. Okay, so here we are with my -5. Here's -5 on the y-axis. So that's where we're putting our point. So now, so Heaven, this is why it's a lot easier. We're looking at my slope. The slope is rise over the run. Okay, so I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go to the right 2, 1, 2, and make my point. And I can do the same thing. Go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over to the right, 1, 2. A little crazy with that point, but here we are. All right, if I want to do it again, 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2. So now I can see that line forming. Okay, definitely. Okay, so do you see now why we don't change it into improper fraction? Just leave it as a fraction. Just leave it as an improper fraction, but don't change it to a mixed number. Okay. Hi. Yes, I have. Secured, yes, I have. So if anything, go here. Okay, go here. And then just do a search. It might say difference of squares and difference of cubes. Okay. Y is the last term, the y-intercept, and not the fraction, because the fraction is always your slope. If you think of y equals mx plus b, the m is always the coefficient of your x. Your b, that is always going to be your y-intercept. Okay, so the one that doesn't have an x and a y, that's where you start. That's your starting point. The m, that is going to be your slope, your rise over run. Okay, now, what type of line am I going to draw? Solid or dashed? solid or dashed? Okay, Kevin says dash, USA says solid, Bobby says solid, me solid, Mia solid, Trey solid, solid, Angela dashed. How do you know when to stop when counting 3 to the top? As soon as you see your line, Dodo. As soon as you see your line. Some teachers want you to just do 3. Some people want you to do 5. It's just whenever you see the line. Okay, you forgot? Okay, what's a dashed? So, do we solve for X? No, we do not. We always solve for Y. Are you shading it in 2? You will. But first we need the line in order to figure out. No problem, Dodo. Okay, it goes to infinity. Okay. Now, because our inequality has a line underneath it, this is greater than or equal to. Anytime it has a line underneath it, it's going to be a solid line. Okay, every time there's a line underneath, it's a solid line. So now we drew our boundary line. Now we need to test it. So Kevin, this is close to when we figure out our shading. So if you can't see which one will be above and which one will be below, we can use this 0.00. Okay, we can use that. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug it into this equation. So I think, let me slide over just a little bit. So the equation was y is greater than or equal to 3/2 x minus 5. And if we substitute 0 in for the x and the y, we'll be able to see that 3/2 times 0, anything times 0 is going to be 0. So we have 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 5, which gives me a -5. So is 0 greater than or equal to -5? Is it true or a false statement? Okay, yes, it's a true statement. Good, true statement. Awesome. Okay, so since it is a true statement, we're going to shade the side that contains that 0.00. But as I mentioned earlier, if it's greater than, and you notice the line, the greater than, it's going to be above. See? Greater than or equal to. It's going to be above. For here, it was less than. Less than, we shade below. Here, this was greater than. Greater than, we shade above. So you can take that as a quick shortcut. It's nice to know that information because here's one thing that they'll do on a GED and definitely ASVAB that I've seen. They will give you 4 graphs. Then they will give you, like, say, inequality. And they would ask, okay, which of these 4 graphs gives you this inequality? So 1, you need to know, boom, let me look at the inequality symbol. It doesn't have a line underneath it, so that means it should be a dashed line. Anything that gives you a solid line, cross that out. It's gone. So you might eliminate, like, say, 2 choices. Then, since it says greater than, that means I should be shading above. If both of them are shaded above, okay, let me see what else they got. Then I go to the y-intercept. You'll see one y-intercept might be a positive number, and the other one will actually be the number that we're looking at. So the one that we're looking for is a -5. If it gives you a -5, that's your answer. So you didn't have to do a whole lot of calculations sometimes. Sometimes, especially if you're taking, I'm not talking about the ones that are currently taking this, say, in a college algebra class, you might have to show your work unless it's a test, because the test is basically multiple choice. The teacher is not going to be like, oh yeah, let me see your work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So if they say, show me your work, you got to show the work. But if it's, say, a GED or any kind of high school equivalency test or the TEAS test or any of the nursing entry exams, the ASVAB, any of the ASVABs, it's basically, it doesn't matter what branch you're going into, as well as the ACCUPLACER. They just want you to pick, is it A, B, C, or D? Some of them is an E. Okay, same thing with SAT, same thing with ACT. You can't sit and memorize all the formulas. You will go crazy. Okay, be familiar with them, but not committed to memory. Okay, just be familiar with them. All right. So how much do you shade? As much as you can on the very top. You don't have to get crazy, like, oh, let me shade this whole side of the paper. Like, that's too much. You're doing too much, right? Just enough for people to see it. So less than or equal to, greater than or equal to is a solid line. Let's see, right here. Okay. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, solid line. Less than or greater than, dashed line. Okay. This is what you're struggling with right now. Hey, let's go. Yeah. Taking the test soon? Yes, there's definitely shading. Now, if there is a number line, now let me clarify. If you've seen inequalities and it's just like, it's not two variables. It's not an X and a Y. It's like just an X or just an M. That's a number line. And you still have to have some kind of shading or highlighting going either into the positive infinity direction or the negative infinity direction. But once you go into this whole two-dimensional with the X and Y axes, this is when you're going to have to do your shading for inequalities, not equal sign, just inequalities. For nursing, yes, I believe it. It's a lot. You're learning a lot. And like you said, you've been out of school for like 20 years, right? It's a lot. You're trying to learn all this stuff in like 12 weeks. You can't learn algebra. You can't learn a 1 year capacity jam-packed full of stuff in 1 year in 12 weeks. It's tough. Okay, but if you do need assistance, let me know. Not clear on the highlights. They all look shaded. Same place to me. To the same place? Your kids are 21. What do you mean, Mia, that they're shaded in the same place? Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, not a problem. I think I still have room for one more before I have to skedaddle. To the left and bottom. So, let me see if I can get it clear on the next one. So it's not based off of the axes, it's based off the line. So you either have this side of the line or this side of the line that's shaded, the line that you drew. So by testing it, you're asking yourself, all right, what side of this line, not the axes, this line you're going to shade. So if I look at it, this is like when my X values are going up to positive infinity. So this is going to be the above. This side has my Y values going down to negative infinity. So this is why this is below. But let's see if I can do. Okay, let's see if we can do this one. Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't. Okay, I didn't use that one. I don't want to repeat. So we have 4x minus 5y is less than 5. Sorry, I had to handle something. So sorry. Okay. Okay, I usually start at 7, but today I didn't have a person at 6:45, so I just figured let me just get on here live. let me just go live. All right. Yeah, it's very similar to that Big L, but instead of open circles, it's going to be a dashed line like you have here. And instead of a closed line, it's going to be a solid line. Yep. So all it did was it took it from a number line to a coordinate plane. Yeah. All right. There you go. Okay. All right. No problem. No, you got it. You basically got it. All right. So I'm seeing that the first thing I should do is subtract my 4x. So when I do that, I have my negative 5y is less than my negative 4x plus 5. Okay. All right. So then we got our dividing of that negative 5. What's happening next after we divide negative 5? What's happening? Yes, good, ma'am. Good. The sign changed. Good job, Denise. Good, Big Al. Good. The sign flips. Good, Kim. Okay. I know somebody's cheering for themselves right now. I can hear you. That's awesome. So instead of less than, it's going to be greater than because you're dividing by a -5. Now here, we have a -4 divided by a -5. A negative divided by a negative gives us a positive. And then a +5 divided by a -5 will give us a -1. Because if you don't change the sign, okay, if you don't change the sign, then you're not going to get a true statement. I'll show you in a second as soon as we're done with this one, okay? I'll show you. So, actually, I'm going to show you right now because we're basically done. We have our y by itself, and this is our inequality. So, let's graph it first. That'll make it a lot clearer. So I'm looking at this. I don't need a huge graph. I think I can take all of this. Okay, we got a -1, so I'm going to need more up here. Oops. Okay. Okay, so my y-intercept is going to be that -1. That's where we start on the y-axis. So from this point, here's the direction. I need to go, since it's a +4, I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 5. And draw my next point. Okay. Now, need 2 points. That's fine. Solid or dashed line. Solid or dashed line. Okay, Kendra with a dash, Busy dash, Letitia dash, travel nurse student dash, dash from Mia, USA dash, Big Al dash, Anonymous dash, Dodo dash, Jen dash, Endron dash, Janie dashed, user, all of that dashed. Okay, so Charlie, there's no line underneath. Okay, it's only solid when there's a line underneath. So I'm going to create my dashed line. So I'm just picking up my pen. Because when there's no line underneath, it's going to be a dashed line. When there is a line underneath, it's a solid line. Now, which way am I going to shade? So, if I follow along, I can use this point 0, 0. Oops, where's my blue? Right here. I can use this point 0, 0. So if I plug this in, I'm going to have 0 is greater than 4/5 times 0 minus 1. Anything times 0 is 0. So we basically have 0 is greater than -1. Is 0 greater than -1? Okay, so Miss Hood, I had to use my slope. My starting was at -1, then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why that point's there. Okay, so 0 is greater than -1. Yes, it is. So that means we're containing the point, the side. Oops. The side that has that -1, that 0, 0 point in there, that's going to be the side where all of my true solutions are going to be. Now, if I didn't flip that sign, okay, if I didn't flip that sign, so let's say I go to basically plug in 0, 0. It would say that 0 is less than -1 if I didn't flip the sign, okay? We would have had 0 is less than -1. Is that a true statement? Is 0 less than -1? Okay. All right. No. Okay. Because if I plug in, if I go back and if I didn't flip it, it's not going to give me the right side to shade. So like, let's say, let me pick another point. Let's pick 5, 0, right? If I picked 5, 0 and I go back to my original equation, all right? So this is me not flipping the sign. This is the reason why we have to flip the sign. So if I didn't flip the sign, and I'm going to use this 0.50, going back to the original, I would have 4 times 5, that's my x, minus 5 times 0, that's my y, is less than 5. So with me not flipping the sign, this is basically a way to prove it. So 4 times 5, last time I checked, that's 20. So 20 minus 5 times 0, which is 0. And then we have less than 5. 20 minus 0, that's still 20. So 20 less than 5, is that a true statement? Okay, is that a true statement? No, Big Al, okay? Korea, no. Hinton, no, it's not, right? So we're saying, if I didn't flip that sign, we would have shaded this side. But if this point doesn't satisfy the original equation, let me pick a point that does. Let's say 0, 5, right? So I'm going back to my original. Let me switch colors so you can see it. So I would have 4 times 0, because this is the side that we shade, okay? 4 times 0 minus 5 times 5, because the y value I'm looking at is 5. So now this is with me flipping the signs, okay? 4 times 0, that'll give me 0. Negative 5 times 5, that'll give me a negative 25, is less than 5. Is negative 25 less than 5? Okay, yes. Tisha, yes. Kim, yes. Dodo, yes. Big Al, yes. Okay, yes. Miss Hood, yes. All right. Okay. So here's my thing. Without flipping the sign, you're going to get an error. You'll get an answer, but you're going to shade the side. But if you try to plug any of those points back into the original inequality, you're going to get an error every time. This is false. This is true. So it's important when you divide by a negative. Okay, this part right here. When you divide by a negative number or you multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality sign. Because if not, eventually what's going to happen, you're going to get false solutions. Okay. Yeah, it just so happened it's not doing that. Okay. Alrighty. What type of math is this? This is Algebra 1. Okay, no problem. Okay. Alright. So when you're dealing with linear inequalities, that's basically what's happening. Okay. So one, let me go through the steps again. Okay, let me go through the steps again. One, you're going to put the inequality in that slope-intercept form. Basically, you're solving for y. Two, you're going to look at the inequality symbol to see, are you going to draw a solid line or a dashed line? If it's just less than or greater than, it's going to be a dashed line. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line. Then you're going to figure out what side of that line you're going to shade. Okay, so always remember, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to change the direction of the inequality sign. So if it happens to be greater than or equal to, you can shade above it. If it's less than or equal to, you're going to shade below it. And if you can't figure out which one's above or below, then you're going to test it. Test it with that 0.00. Plug it into the formula that you did. Like say, for example, this one. We plugged it into the formula to see if it gives us a true statement. If it gives you a true statement, that means you are shading the side that contains that 0.00. Okay? This is actually below the boundary line. Okay? If it so happens to give you a false statement, then you're going to shade opposite that boundary line. Shade the side that does not contain 0,0. All right. Yeah, sometimes it's early, sometimes it's later. Sometimes it's at 9:30. Like tomorrow, I'll probably be on here at 6:45 again tomorrow because I have a late tutoring session. All right. So you're taking it on the 29th? Okay. Now, if you guys are taking your GED, your ASVAB, and you want to go over some things, just to get clarifications, mostly on the weekends right now, it looks like I'm doing what's called a deep dive. It's probably going to be like a paid event. Well, it is a paid event, but I don't know what's going on. Because for some reason, I don't know why I cannot. I don't know. I'm trying to do some stuff. But anyway, it is going to be a paid event. But if you want tutoring, I do offer tutoring services as well. See if I got like 5 minutes to do this. All right. So if you have any tutoring, private, small group, if you know of like a couple people in your class that you want to get together and do that, you can do that. If you want to, if you want something self-paced and you want to prepare yourself for the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, or maybe even just build up your algebraic skill set. Maybe you're a homeschool parent, a homeschool student. They're just like, I haven't done algebra at all. Okay? Take a look at my courses. Now, this is roughly what the course is. It's 107 different, I know it's kind of hard to say, but it's 107 different topics. It's basically the whole Algebra 1 curriculum, if I may, with a little bit of geometry and a little bit of probability and some statistics in there. Okay? So this is a whole kit and caboodle. There is practice problems on there. There are quizzes on there. It's all wrapped into one. So if anything, you can go here, which is my blank, and that is okay. So if you're interested in that, you can take that. Go ahead and screenshot it if you want. Let me zoom in for a second so you can get that. So if you want to screenshot that, you can screenshot that. Gonna take it off in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Now, I also have something. Books for sale. Okay, this notebook that I'm writing in, I actually created this. Okay, I created this notebook, and not only does it have pages for you to put your notes in, but it also has a research page in the very back. So if you need your help with factors from 1 to 200 is all listed here. If you need help with your inequalities, here we go with the signs and symbols and the interval notation. The reminders are there. Your rules of integers are there as well. Also, the formulas for linear and the quadratic equations. It looks like this seems familiar. We just did that today. Instead of an equal sign, we had inequalities. Order of operations, properties of exponents, decimal operation, as well as fraction operation. Looking at the transition from fraction to decimal, decimal to percent, all of that. Place values. This is great for anyone that's in algebra, algebra 1, GED, maybe even those intermediate algebra classes. If you're taking your ASVAB, I noticed I did some sessions today, and we worked on distance, speed, and time with that formula, as well as the arithmetic and the geometric sequence. So we have it all here. System of equations, system of inequalities. That's what we're going to do a little bit more for the deep dives. And then we have Pythagorean theorem, volume, and surface area, all those formulas, as well as the conversion. So all that is wrapped up into one book. And this is what I do. I come here live. I basically do problems and I put it inside my notebooks. This is notebook number 6 since I've been doing this since February 2nd. And if you're interested, this is where you can go to purchase yours. I'm currently running a sale for $10.29 per book. This book, I usually sell it for $22.97, and I'm selling it just for the month of September for $10.29. Okay, all that and then some. All right, so if you need it, that's where you can go. Go ahead and take a screenshot of that. I'm going to take it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you're a lefty, I got you. I have my left-handed series. You also can order that from here. This is the same book, but notice how it opens. Yes, lefties unite. For once, someone's thinking about you, okay? Yeah, since both of my parents are left-handed, I actually dedicated this particular book to my father, who's passed now. But just the whole thing is right here for my lefties. And I also have another version of the book for Algebra 2 to pre-calculus. And I also have a left-handed version for that as well. Okay. See? I know. We all know a lefty in our life. Now, if you want my notes and you're just like, Audrey, I love your notes, I have something that's a play on Cliff Notes. It's called Audrey's Notes. So what I do is I take a copy of all my notes. Okay, this one is book 3. So it has a little probability, a little bit of dividing, polynomials and everything. Some advanced stuff in here. This is great for people that are doing ACCUPLACER and Algebra 2. It has a little bit of combination of their stuff. And if you notice, most of the subjects, the topics, they have a QR code. If you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to the YouTube video, YT video of this title, and you can actually follow along. Okay, if you want to, you can follow along. It's almost like having a tutoring session all to yourself. All right, but the notes are already done. Some people like it that way, because even I have like the systems of equations and inequalities that's going on in there as well. So, and there, books 1 through 5 is already there. And again, you can order that here because all of my books right now for the month of September cost $10.29. Okay. I am not a lover of calculus. I'm sorry, Snapple. Just not my jam. Algebra 2, pre-calculus, not that AP pre-calculus stuff that needs to go back to the depths of hell on which it came. Just, yeah, why? I don't even understand. But if you do need someone, I do know someone that does calculus. He's on here as well. Main Street Tutors. So if you take a look, I know, right? So I just put it in the chat, Main Street Tutors. He does a lot with calculus. Usually he's my go-to person if anybody wants to do calculus. Very patient, understand what he's doing, and is doing that. Not sure how we relate. You're like, it skipped a generation. No, it didn't. Okay, so $10.29 each for all of the books. So if you need the course, if you're just like, Audrey, I need to start from the very beginning. And again, the course is me. Like, there's not a series of other people. It's just me. So 107 different videos plus the practice sheets and plus the quizzes are all incorporated in there. And if you ever come across something that you're just like, yeah, I still need a little help with that, just call me and then we'll make an arrangement. Okay. So, but the course itself, that's going to be $147. You want to catch that before that price goes up at October 1st, which will go up to like $197. Alrighty. Yep. He sent me here. Who sent you here? The Lord sent you here, Kim? I'm kind of scared to find out who sent you here. Who's he, Kim? I totally missed all about that. Okay. All right, mom's a lefty. See, look at all these celebrations of lefties. See? All right. Yep, so $10.29 each. Okay. It's like, did the Lord send you? The Spirit? I know. No, not a problem. To buy everything? Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right, so again, you can go here for the books. Okay, I'm going to flip it. All right, you can go here for the course, which that's there. I know, all the things I have to do. Now, B, if you want my schedule, especially for the deep dives, the deep dive seems like it's going to be happening like on Fridays and the weekends. But I'm also willing to do like a help hour of college algebra. I don't know why I keep mentioning this, because I keep getting phone calls from people saying, I want to do it. So if you want me to have like an hour of like college algebra, give me a couple topics. I'm going to go over some concepts. It'll be like a pull-out session. And it'll actually be like a small, when I say paid event, it's never more than $5. Like, it's always something relatively small and adjustable. And then you can also go here for these things. So just let me know. Send me a message. Don't just, send a comment here, because sometimes when I try to go back to the comments, I can't find them. I could probably find them if I do a little more digging. But sometimes when it's like 11, 12, or sometimes 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't feel like digging. No. I really don't. Okay. Yep. If you go here, I've done, who asked about polynomials? Denise. Yep, I did that already. Ready. Scale factors. Yep, I did that already. Yep. Just take a look. No, it goes, that particular book, book 3, Travel Nurse, it'll kind of hit on some Algebra 2 concepts, but I would say like book 1, book 2, Book 4. Yeah, 3's not too bad, but it's a little. I think I went a little deep with 3. But books 1, 2, and 4, and some of the things are going to have a tendency to repeat. It's not going to be super consistent. I'm going to be truthful with that. Okay, but my suggestion is go here, take a look before you want to order the books. That's just me. See, I know I want to make money. I got you. That's the reason why I'm here, to sell my services. But at the same time, I don't want you to ever feel that I'm just here for the money. I want you to be great. And I would like to stay in my house and be able to have electricity. That whole thing called, basic needs. But at the same time, I really want you guys to be able to take all this information and ask the questions that you always wanted to ask. And even when you were afraid of, when you were back in elementary or middle school, when you were first exposed to this, I want you to be able to ask your questions. Okay. Not a problem, Janie. It was my pleasure. Okay. Oh, don't worry about Arizona. I have a student in Puerto Rico tonight in about 10 minutes. And then tomorrow, that's why I'm doing it early tomorrow, because I have a 10:30 session for a girl in California. So I tutor everywhere. There's times I'll be up 12, 1 o'clock in the morning tutoring, because kids are, usually they're high school students, because some of them are travel teams. Some of them are playing volleyball and the game went late. Some of them are a different time zone, plus all of that. So I just have to be flexible. That's just what I have to do, right? Because if I need to help people, I need to help people. I'm available 7 days a week. I guess I'm trying to do God's work. He gave me this because I used to suck at math. I really don't know how I became a math teacher. I really don't know how that came. But all of a sudden, one day, it just made sense. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess this is what I'm doing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm so glad you doom scroll too. Well, if you want it, say next day, you can buy it on the A. We can't really say that word in there. I'll be dinged. But if you want the discount, you have to purchase it through here, which will take usually about a week, maybe a week and a couple days. We just had a holiday, and of course that screwed a lot of their timings up. But they're getting it straightened out soon. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Big Al. Thank you. I'm thinking about doing something next week, possibly next Friday. So I'm thinking I'll make the announcement of that close to the end of next week. Or this week, sorry. All right. Thanks, Addicted to Success. Appreciate that. I know, right? Didn't know. You were just it's just some silliness. Okay, next thing you know, I learned about integers. Yes, and tomorrow night is going to be an algebra review. So I'm tomorrow night, as I said, is going to be around 6:45, possibly 6:30, just so I can get everything situated. And I'm going to be doing just a random multiple choice. And I did it once before. I just want to continue doing it. So it looks something like this. This is a copy of what I was doing last time I did that. So it's just, I come up with a lot of Algebra 1 type questions. And all we do is just go through each of them. You figure out which one it will be. If you're right, congratulations. If you're wrong, let's make the adjustment. As you can see, I do a lot of the work right over to the side of it just to make sure that we're okay, So that's what I try to do to, one, help you guys with whatever your next step is. So, and yeah, I think that's about it. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Stamping on Friday. Okay. Yes, good luck. You got this. You got this. If you believe it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Okay? No hesitation. Just go ahead and do it. Okay? And what's the worst that can happen? You do it again? Okay. But don't let any kind of tests, and I'll say this before I leave, don't let any test whatsoever define who you are. You know how much work you're going to put into something. You know how much effort and how much heart that you have because you love either being a nurse, being a teacher, want to do something, but this whole math test is in the way. Well, then let's conquer that math test. Okay? Remember, they need you more than you need them. They need you more than you need them, not the other way around. Oh, I got to get this test. Oh, I got to get 100. Oh, I got to get... No, you're adding stress. For what? They need you. Like, you are the creme de la creme. You are the top notch. They need you. So the only way is, okay, I'll take your test. Literally have that attitude. All right, let me just take your test so you can really see what I can do. No hesitation. Go tackle it, own it, pass it. Enough said. Okay? All right. Okay, so I will see you guys later. I gotta get ready to tutor. And there you go. That's what I'm talking about, son. Hold on. Sorry, Ariel. I just saw your message. Give me a second. Okay, it's got to be quick. Okay, let me unzoom. Sugar, there you go. Okay, take screenshots real quick. Take care, travel nurse. All right, good, sunflower. All right. Okay. Yes, Janie, we'll see you tomorrow for more fun and entertainment. Okay. All right, Ariel, you got it? I'll show you what it goes. Yes? All right, cool. Tomorrow I'll be on at 6:30. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on at 6:30. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. All right, so give me until maybe like around 10 or 11 to upload the video, and then you can see the whole entire video. All right, everyone, take care. I'll see you tomorrow night. That's all right, and make sure it's Eastern Standard Time. Okay, got to calculate it. So 6:30 tomorrow I'll be on. All right, love you all. Have a good night, and don't act too crazy because I don't have bail money. All right, bye.